How's it going, people? Welcome back to the Pointless Polo Project. Today I'm going to be in the process of trying to turn this grill, which I've already kind of started on, you can kind of see there, into a honeycomb grill. So you can see these honeycomb things here. Let me just bring that in for you. So like, that's the honeycomb idea that I've got going on. You see it on kind of Audi A3s, Audi TTs, that kind of stuff. I want to bring that into the normal VW Polo 9N grill. So this is what I bought. It cost me £12 on eBay. This cost me £19 on eBay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this to this, and hopefully we'll get a honeycomb grill going on. Idea is to get the whole honeycomb grill on, and then also to do the honeycomb bumper inserts as well, but that might be a different video because this is going to be testing my mechanical abilities pretty heavily in and of itself, and I have no idea if it's going to work or not. Maybe this video won't even exist if it doesn't work. If it does exist, then I've probably either done it or it's really funny that it doesn't work, so who knows. Just one more thing before we begin, go over to my Instagram account, it's @CarsbyJB, and you'll be able to find out when these videos are coming out sooner and see all these great pictures of cars that I take that I don't get to take videos of. So yeah, if you want to get on the Instagram, then be on that. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff, and without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so what I'm doing here is basically, as you can see on this side that I haven't yet cut, is I'm removing, using a just basic blade, each of the little inserts just on either side, just trying to get rid of them so that it flushes itself out. And then, as you can see on this side, I've done, well, my dad did this cut, luckily, because he's much better than me at this. So yeah, like I've cut it out to there. I'll make this flush afterwards, so this will come through and be made flush. And then obviously you can see also there are these sort of slices through on the edge, like here where I'm pointing here. So there's all these sort of slices and stuff. I have to work out what to do with those. My plan is basically to fit the honeycomb under here, so for it to be under this bit, coming down to the bottom and across here, so it fills out that whole kind of space. It means it makes life slightly easier in terms of making one for this side and then one for the other side as well. So that's the goal. Hopefully we bring it to fruition. Okay, one thing that I've pretty much immediately noticed is that this thing sucks on your finger, so use a glove instead. Whew, that took ages, but it was well worth it. Now we just got to do these two at the bottom and then we are on our way. An absolute revelation is the fact that you can actually remove these sections by snapping them off. I just literally did it just then. Didn't record it, but you can literally, once you get to the bottom of one bit, you can just literally just pull the rest and it just snaps right off. Ideal. Oh, and look at that. You can get that bit off as well by snapping it. Well, that just saved me a lot of time. Cool, so now we've kind of reached our first checkpoint almost, as if it's a game or something. So there's still a few things you need to remove. So there's like a bunch of tabs here on the back that need to be broken off. You can see it, I'll just snap that one. Snapped another one. In fact, I can take this off now. Yeah, so there's a few tabs you need to snap, so you can see it like kind of here. There we go. So yeah, just give it a little snap. They'll come off nice and easy. Done the ones on that side already. There's a few more tabs and stuff around, but I'm going to saw those off now. Once those are off, then I'm going to look at making these edges flush. So you can kind of see where there's still a line there left from where I've sliced it off. Yeah, we're going to focus on making those lines flush. On top of that, you can see that there's a little bit of marking on bits that you don't really want marking. So I'm going to have to work out a way to go over that. Maybe I'll paint the whole thing black afterwards or something when it's done, just to make life a bit easier. Anyway, let's go on with that. Right, so after much sawing, I have got two open sections there, as you can see. I wanted to mention, by the way, something that I should have said right at the start, is that one of the key reasons why I'm not getting rid of this circle in the middle and just hollowing this whole thing out, is because I actually want to keep the badge. Yeah, but anyway, as you can see, a key aim is to keep that badge going on in the middle, because I don't want to lose the badge. I want to keep the badge just like they do in the GTIs, for example, and then, yeah, maintain the honeycomb grille. So let's just keep pushing and see where we end up. I'm going to cut off the sides of these bits, so decided to take these in about 5mm just to kind of this point here, and I'll probably take that all the way around this bottom bit as well. So I think my plan is to get some masking tape, put the masking tape over that bit there, along the top bit here, draw a little line where I want to cut, and then I'll cut out that bit, and once all those are done, I will be in a good position to be putting my honeycomb in. Okay, I have to take hold of you for just 2 seconds because there's one tab that you really need to not break when you're doing this little inside bit. Hold on. Here you can see around the back, this is where I'm about to be cutting. So you've got these 3 tabs here. The bottom tab, this one here, you literally cannot remove. So if I come around this side, you can kind of see this little tab thing here. So it's a little bit blurry. Yeah, that little tab there is important for putting the badge in. So you don't want to cut that one there. These 2 here, more than happy to remove, and then same with obviously those ones over there, these 2, but obviously not the bottom one, that's important, so yeah, just thought I'd let you know that. Cool, so a little progress report for you. So far I have taken off all of these edges, so as you can see it's completely sort of ripped out from the inside. The only ones that remain, as I mentioned before, are these little tabs at the back that have the ones to hold the badge on. Other than that, yeah, it's a completely cleaned out badge, and you can kind of see at this point what it's going to look like when it's got the mesh behind it. So yeah, the honeycomb does look pretty sick behind that. I'm hoping that it does come out looking really good, so I'll just smash the camera. But yeah, so that's what it looks like so far. I'm gonna go to bed now because it is, well, I'm not gonna go to bed, but it's 10:30 and I'm tired. So yeah, I'll finish this off tomorrow. In fact, one thing I'm gonna do before I go to bed as a progress report is gonna fix this, which was actually broken when I got it. I didn't snap that really myself, but whatever. I'll super glue that together and that'll be all right by the morning, I assume. Just to let you know where I've gotten up to this point, it's taken me about hour and a half to do this, including faffing around talking to you lot, so not too bad. It would have been a lot easier if I'd used power tools, but having had no previous power tool experience, I thought maybe it's not the best idea to go straight in and use power tools. Hence I'm using obviously the trusty blade from a saw. So yeah, comes out of that obviously. So, finish off the rest tomorrow, which for you will be immediately. So it's the morning after the night before. What I'm going to try and do today is I'm going to try and make a template of all of these sections out of cardboard. So I've got a nice big cardboard box on the floor. I'm going to masking tape that to this and then mark out exactly where I need to cut via the inside, so around here. Remembering that I'm going to be trying to fit the honeycomb along there, sort of along this little bottom bit, and then fitting on just in the front of this bit here. I'm going to do that on both sides, and then once I've got those inserts made, I can then look at attaching those to the honeycomb and slicing them off. So let's go do that. Whoa, hold on there, past JB for a second. This is future JB speaking. You tried all of those things, you got your dad involved, you made the templates, he cut out those templates into the honeycomb for you, and none of it really worked. So you decided to change the way the project was running entirely and do it completely differently. So how about rather than boring the people with all that process that didn't work, you just talk about the stuff that did work. This has been Future JB. Okay, so I've had a slight change of heart. Good man. Having re-evaluated everything to do with the difficulty, basically related to making this job work, I've realised that if I was to put the grills on this bit, straight down from them, you can't really see it on this, but straight down is about this way. So I'm really bending the honeycomb to fit that. What I want to do instead is to fit in my honeycomb just behind that bit there, so it sort of fits in here, attached to the top so it looks more flush. Redo these edges so that they are sort of even all the way around, and sort of trim off these bits here as well. Even those off so that they look like one straight piece, and then sand them down so that they're nice and flush. And then do the same obviously on the insides as well. Once that's done, then I will put the honeycomb in behind. I'll show you like for reference. So rather than basically spending ages trying to force the honeycomb to sit on the top like that, I'm going to sit it in behind like so that it looks a little bit more flush. I think that would just look quite nice, and it looks kind of similar to the way the GTIs have it, so that's going to be my goal. Hopefully we can make this happen. It's going to be quite a difficult one still because there's a lot of work to do related to it, so let's give that a go. Basically this whole section has to look a lot more flush if I'm going to put the honeycomb on the inside of it, because if it doesn't, then it will just look pretty tatty. And I will paint over it because now that these obviously two things are different colours, I don't know if you can see that well on the camera, but hopefully you can, the different colours, there's all these scratch marks down the edges of stuff. It will be painted over, but I want these edges to just be as flush as possible so that it looks more OEM than like a random thing that some random 22-year-old built in his garage. So we'll keep going at it. So this is Feature JB again. As you can see here, I cut the rest of the edges down with a saw to the 12mm mark that I mentioned previously. After I did that, I cleaned up the tatty bits with a blade, so I just got my Swiss Army knife and sliced those down a little bit. Following that, I moved on to making a template out of cardboard to put onto the honeycomb. And once that was complete, I got my dad to stick that to the honeycomb itself. And once that was stuck to the honeycomb, he got a power tool and sliced it out. Basically just because I didn't want to mess up my 19-pound honeycomb section, and he's much better at using the tools than me. So it was worth using him there. You can do it yourself and be less of a loser than I am, but yeah, that's fair enough. And here you can kind of see what it looks like behind the grill. So this is just sort of showing you exactly what it will look like when it goes in behind the grill, which we will now go on to sticking together. So what I'm going to be doing today is glue gunning the actual honeycomb onto the grill. So this is kind of where the spicy bit happens. I get the glue gun, I'm going to stick it in and all the little bits of the honeycomb behind, starting with the more fiddly bits and then working on to the less fiddly bits afterwards. Hopefully by the end of it you shouldn't be able to see any edges, or at least minimal edges. And then once I've done that, I'll cut out the middle bit and that'll be where the badge goes, and then we've pretty much got a grill sorted for the car. So that's where we want it to be, and that's where I'm aiming to be by the end of this evening. So just going to put that together now and hopefully it works. Stay tuned. Right, so major progress has been made. I have successfully glued in the rear of this. You may have seen that I snipped out that middle bit partway through just because it was getting in the way and it's making it more difficult. But that is literally glued in. Look, if I stand a bit further back, look at that. It's honeycomb and it's a VW mad. There's definitely spots that you could do this better, I'm not going to lie. There's plenty of stuff here that I've learned along the way. In terms of when you actually do the gluing, I will show you some of the glue work. So it's literally just spots all the way around on each little bit. So I've just done like a little spot in random places, done it on the little middle bit as well there. Down the bottom here as well. I kind of tried to fit it underneath so you can see the spots of glue just under there. It's not really focusing very well. You can kind of see the spots of glue that I put in underneath, and that's gone all the way around the edges. So I feel like every single side needs to be attached as best as possible to the actual grill. Then it looks like it's obviously all flush, and when it comes to actually painting it, which will be the next step, it shouldn't look too bad, I don't think. I think it should look kind of like it. Only bit I'm not particularly happy with, if you go up nice and close to these bits, you can kind of see there's like a little gap here. This little gap here is not ideal. Tiny little gap on the bottom as well. Same on the other side, you've got a little bit of a gap there. You probably won't be able to see it, so like if I stand back here and you think of it on the car, you won't really notice it, but I don't know. That's something that I want to, obviously, if I was to redo this, I'd make sure that fits a lot better. But yeah, I mean, I'm actually quite happy with that. Like, considering this is the hardest project I've done so far, that's not bad. Now, the next steps are to slice out this middle bit everywhere that can't be seen from the outside, because we need to get the badge back in there, obviously, so that's one step. Step two is to then, on these edges, I don't really know how this is going to fit into the car. I don't know if these will all be flush, so I'm going to first of all make sure that these ones that kind of stick over are brought back in as far as I can. Once I've done that, it should theoretically be ready to go onto the car once it's been painted, so we'll do all that stuff now. Okay, I know it's a bit dark, so I'm using my iPhone for light, but this is kind of what it looks like. It's obviously, I think it may need to get painted still. I bought the paint now, just done this and just put it on for testing, and that is not bad. I know you probably can't see it, look, I've got my phone here for light, but mad. I was expecting it to look really, really poor, but no, that's well good. I'm really actually quite happy with that. It's a bit weird having this little blue line inside here, so that's maybe something to think about when redoing it. Yeah, actually, all in all, it's come out looking pretty nice. Like, yeah, we'll have that. Okay, so the next step will be to paint it. So I'm just gonna paint that now, and that'll be it. Pretty much done. Crazy. Yeah, well, I'm actually impressed. Like, I'm so impressed that fit onto the car. That's insane. Like, as in, I know I've been making this video for a few days now. In fact, it's probably been more like a week. But yeah, I obviously thought it was going to fit onto the car, but in terms of actually fitting in as it did, I'm really happy. But now I'm going to paint it, and I think I'm going to paint it outside rather than inside, just because I don't want to stink out my dad's shed with paint. But the paint that I'm using is 10 quid paint from Halfords. It's just basically plasti dip, but in Halfords form, and it's only a tenner. I've used it in my previous videos. Yeah, if you want to go back and have a look at that, you can. I'm also going to repaint my VW logo, just to show you kind of how plasti dip works. It's be very embarrassing if it decides that it doesn't want to work. But if I give it a few little pulls, you can see like already there, it's come off from the thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely remove this first and foremost to get it prepped for painting. I'll wipe down that as well, the grille, to get that ready for painting, and I'm going to paint both of them at the same time, and yeah, that'll be perfect. So give me 2 seconds. So here's the finished product. Not bad at all. I'd say that it's quite a good consistent black across there. You can kind of see here, so it's black along here, black down through here, black all the way through. Really looks very similar to the old colour of black that we actually had on there, which I think is probably for the best. I didn't really want it to look too different. There's a few bits that could potentially be redone a little bit better. So here we've got a little bit of run, for example, just because of the way that it's put in. So maybe I'll do another little coating over the top before I finalise this. And then here with the VW logo, yeah, that was nice and easy. You can see that's gone perfectly black again, so that's ideal. My next steps are going to be to fix that one little bit that doesn't look very nice. So yeah, the next thing you'll see is me putting it onto the car. Mad. So now we get to the fun stuff, which is actually removing the grille from the car. So I'll talk you through it quickly. You just need a flathead screwdriver and a T30 Torx key, whatever it's called. You need one of those. Yeah, you need to open the bonnet first and foremost. And then in terms of next steps, so you've got these 2 tabs right here which need to come out, so you just literally shove that in there, they pop out nice and easy, and then it's just a case of Torx wrenching these out. Then yeah, the first time I took these out, they were quite difficult to pull out. They were quite rusted, as I'll show you in a second. So yeah, you can see that's quite a rusty little number there. If they've been left in for a long time, which I'm assuming they have, you haven't changed your grille before, then yeah, it might take a little bit more effort. So put those somewhere nice and safe. Once they're down, next step would be to remove the grille entirely. So the OEM grille, I'll warn you already, the OEM grille does, obviously, as I said beforehand, actually does fit a lot nicer. It's actually quite a lot bigger than the grille that I bought. So this is the one that I bought, which wasn't an OEM one, and this is an OEM one. You can kind of see already the size difference. Like this one definitely outclasses it in size. Which, yeah, a little bit annoying, but not the end of the world. You can see as well that I put the badge in early just because I felt like it would make my life a bit easier when it comes to putting it on the car. So in terms of putting it back on, I don't have tabs on the bottom of this one. I actually think I removed them when I first started the project, but those tabs would have gone straight in anyway, and I don't think they would have really worked. So it's all good. So similar procedure to put it back on. Just line up those buttons there, lock the old tabs in. This one here just doesn't want to stick down, which is a key issue, and I think it may now be broken as well. But we're just going to ignore that and just focus on putting the bolts in. It should make it absolutely fine anyway. Yeah, don't over tighten those stars just in case you want to take them off again, but that is pretty much it. There is my grille that I have just spent ages working on. There are a few things I want to change by it. So along here you can see the gap is slightly wider. Same with under here, it's slightly wider in terms of that gap than it is on the OEM grille, which is actually much larger, as I mentioned. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get some kind of red plastic material to put in around the outside, kind of like the GTIs. I think that would be the best bet for remedying that issue. And then the next steps for me will be to replace these inserts here with honeycomb as well. That could be either maybe one long honeycomb piece, or maybe like a honeycomb bit in the middle there up to the pillar, and then across there as well. I think that might be the way to go. But yeah, I'm actually surprisingly happy with it. That didn't actually go too badly. Even if I stand back from it a little bit, it really doesn't look too bad at all. Like, obviously you can see the car there, but yeah, I'm surprisingly happy with how that ended up. Right, so 3 or 4 days and 9 million outfit changes later, we finally have the grille on the car. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. Of course, it could be a little bit cleaner in some places. There are a few overcuts, a few undercuts, all kind of stuff that just comes with my lack of experience in terms of doing the job. One day maybe I'll redo it and make it better, especially if I plan on doing a bigger project with the Polo in the future. Now that I know how to do the grille, maybe next time I'll see if I can make it a little bit more clean. But overall, I'm really happy with how it turned out, and as you've seen from the videos, it is actually not that bad looking. It kind of just looks like it was supposed to be in the car. Don't even need to stand at a really long distance to look at it and be like, oh yeah, that's all right. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I think if I could do it again in the future, one thing I would do is I'd buy the OEM grille. So this is the OEM grille, as I said, you can see me in the middle of it there. I would get the OEM grille and I'd do it on that. I didn't want to ruin this grille in case that one went wrong, so I didn't buy an OEM grille. These are much more expensive. They cost about 43 to sort of 50 pounds is what I saw online. That one cost me 12 quid. So I think for my next step, it would be to buy an OEM grille. If I was to do this again, I'd buy an OEM grille and do it on that. Another thing I'd consider doing if I was doing it again is that I wouldn't cut out this bottom layer. I would try my best. It would be very, very difficult, but I'd try my best to only cut out these two. So these two here, and then once they're cut out, I would fit the honeycomb in behind the top one here and coming down attaching to this one here. The only issue with that is that it makes the spot gluing and stuff a lot more difficult, and you really need to get the size of the honeycomb exactly right. So that's one thing that I would caution about, but I think it would just look better because you wouldn't have that little gap where you've got the blue thing in the car now. I think when I started this video I had 3,000 subs and now I'm on 5,000, so thank you very much for the 2,000 subs that I've gained in the time that it's taken me to do this project. Should be getting another top 5 video out in the next should be getting another top 5 video out in the next few days. I've just been working really hard this week on videos and applications and all that kind of stuff, so I start my grad job next week, which is cool. But yeah, major thanks to everyone who's been supporting the channel, all that kind of stuff. I really appreciate it. All the DMs, all the comments, all that kind of stuff. Again, really enjoy it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.